This paranormal activity is freaking crazy. The story was sent in by somebody who wants to remain anonymous. It is kind of long, but let's get back into the ghost stories. Let's hear it. I watched one of your videos where someone shared their story about a haunting that followed them when they moved, and I'd like to share mine. I come from a small town in Texas that you wouldn't know unless you've been there. When I was 9 months old, I survived what should have been a death sentence after pulling a deep fryer full of hot oil on myself. I share this because I believe the closer someone gets to death, the more susceptible and sensitive they are to the paranormal. I have many stories, but this one immediately came to mind after watching one of your videos. The haunting made my skeptical friends and family question everything that they thought they knew. In the early 2000s, my mother and stepfather moved into a house in our county in Texas. It was a large, nice house that they were renting, but it was way cheaper than it should have been. My mom never explained why, she just said that she got a good deal. First thing that we noticed while moving in was a dark reddish brown stain in the middle of the dark blue carpet. The best way to describe it is that it looked like rust. My mom cleaned it, and you couldn't see it anymore, so we didn't think anything of it. Nothing odd really happened that day, but something did feel off, and I couldn't figure out what it was. We finished moving in and got the bed set up and decided to take the rest of the day off. I can't tell you exactly what time it was, but I woke up freezing. It wasn't the cold that woke me though. My mom had a scanner at the time that gave off a lot of light when it scanned something, and the light started moving back and forth. I went to my mom's room and told her what was going on, and she told me to unplug it. But the thing was, it was already unplugged. That ended up being the last time I ever slept in that room, and even though I just assumed it was first night jitters, after that I started sleeping on the couch in the front living room every single night. Things stayed quiet for a while, and then I had 4 friends over for my birthday. End of the night, my mom asked if we had spilled something in the living room. None of us had even been in there. This was the early 2000s, and we were 90s kids who spent most of our time outside. I went to look, and the stain my mom was talking about looked just like the one we had seen when we moved in. Same spot and everything. Later that night, my oldest friend and I were in the second living room trying to sleep. The next morning, he told me our house must be haunted because he saw my sister walk past the doorway toward the bathroom. Eventually, he decided to go outside so he could go back to sleep, which meant he had to walk past the bathroom door. The bathroom was open, and my sister was nowhere to be found. I laughed about it the next morning and told him that's what we get for watching Amityville before bed. After that, we started hearing footsteps constantly at night in the hallway between the living rooms and the bedrooms. After almost a year in the house, one of my sister's friends began staying with us and sleeping in the living room with me. We always had a reason for the footsteps, saying it was just the house making noise, refusing to believe in anything paranormal. That changed on his last night staying there. One night, my sister, her friend, and I were in the living room watching the original Fast and Furious, and when it ended, my sister said she was going to bed. "Yeah, right, you'll be back in 10 minutes like always," he said. After she left, we got our blankets and pillows ready and turned the TV off. It wasn't a flat screen, it was an old style TV that gave off static if you got too close, and when you turned it off, it let off a flash. He slept facing the door, and when the TV flashed, he saw a girl in the darkness walking past the doorway. He shouted, "I told you you'd be back, and not even in 5 minutes," but got no response. He called my sister's name again, and we heard her yell back from the other side of the house, "What do you want?" We checked the other living room, the bathroom, the kitchen. No one else was there. He left that night, saying he had seen the ring and wasn't dealing with that. Over time, the female ghost became the norm in our house. She never seemed hostile or angry, just curious, like she was always following me around. And to be honest, I didn't mind it. It was oddly comforting. One night, after we found out my stepdad had cancer, he had a massive seizure and was taken to the hospital. My sister, cousin, and 2 of her friends left, leaving me alone in the house. I was an emotional wreck, having never seen a seizure before, so I tried to distract myself by watching South Park in the living room. I heard the ghost coming toward the living room and wasn't in the mood, so I thought, okay, she wants to be in here, I'll go play my guitar in my room. As soon as I grabbed my guitar, I heard her coming down the hallway toward my room. I shut the door, but the door handle started to jiggle, and then the door slowly opened, which honestly was creepy as hell. Jumped up and said out loud, "Fine, you stay here, I'll go back in there." I walked back to the living room. I heard the footsteps directly behind me, and the air felt dense. I turned around expecting to see her, but of course she wasn't there. Floorboards creaked in front of me like she was coming back toward me again, and that's when I messed up. In an angry outburst, I yelled, "Leave me alone, you fucking bitch." When I tell you the atmosphere in the house changed immediately, only people who have experienced a haunting will understand. The bedroom doors behind me started opening and slamming shut hard and fast, and the lights began flickering on and off. Being the tough, brave young man I was at the time, I stood up straight and turned and ran out of the house as fast as I could. Stood across the street at the feed mill we lived by when the front door slammed shut so hard that it echoed down our street. I stayed there for hours waiting for someone to come back. Eventually, my mom, sister, cousin, and her friends came home after they got my stepdad settled into a hospital room. When they asked why I was outside, I told them everything that had happened. I took my cousin and their 2 friends, all grown men, to try to open the front door, and when they finally got it to crack open a little, something slammed it shut again. Eventually, we managed to get in, and they searched the entire house and attic, swearing it had to have been someone holding the door shut. There was no one in the attic, crawl space, rooms, or backyard, and nothing was missing. That's the story of my first chaotic experience with a ghost. I have a treasure chest of experiences I'm willing to share if you'd like. Later, I took this blessing or curse with me when I worked in the prison system in my local jail. And things got even crazier. Thank you for your time. That's absolutely wild. I cannot even imagine dealing with that, especially being so young at 14 and being there by yourself and having all that chaotic stuff happen. Will say though, I know what you're talking about when you say that the entire atmosphere shifted, because that energetic feeling changes and your body's telling you to get the hell out. So I can't joke around with the paranormal. That was an intense story. Thank you so much for sending that in. Of course, we'd love to hear all your other stories. And if you have a story that you would like to send in, you can email it to me at michaelasghoststories@gmail.com or DM it to me here on TikTok. But until next time, stay close to the light.